So odds are you have a savings account at your bank, but did you know there's more than just one type of savings account? In my career, I've seen a lot of clients use this account when they should have been using that account, depending on their unique financial goals that they have going on. So today on the show, we're gonna talk about all the different types of savings accounts and how best to use them as it relates to your wealth building journey. Today on Mindset with Brad Barrett. Let's go. What's up, everybody? I am Brad Barrett. This is producer Jared, and as always, the lovely Kira. Welcome into Mindset. Today, we're gonna be talking about savings accounts. I know, not the most riveting subject matter, but I'll tell you what, there are savings accounts out there that people use when they should be using other ones. Believe it or not, there's actually 5 different ones that I wanna talk to you about.
What?
5. Who would have thought?
That was the worst acting I've ever seen.
What?
I was going for the infomercial. Are you kidding?
Are you kidding me? Tell me more.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. So anyways, we're gonna have a fun one today. We promise we'll make it a little, well, as best we can. Exciting, riveting.
Riveting.
All I can promise is informative.
Fun. What do you call it? Infotainment?
Infotainment.
Infotainment.
Oh.
So stay tuned today. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about how to use them from a financial advisor's perspective. There's a lot of context here to bring to it. Okay. Savings accounts. You might have clicked on this video because there was something going on, cathartic in your life. You're thinking about investing, savings, whatever. I want to start this by saying this. From a financial advisor's perspective, savings accounts are different than investment accounts. Okay? And I think sometimes we combine the two. We think, oh, I have a savings account. And I break it down in time. So in my world, what I talk with clients about is long-term versus short-term. There's a bucket planning, right? You got the short-term, the middle term, and the long-term. The long-term, easy said, is like your retirement assets. That's your 59.5 or 60 and above assets, IRAs, 401ks, you name it.
So wait, even though you're getting interest, you're making money on that account, yep. That's still not an investment account.
I think how you would consider it, it's not investing in anything, technically.
Okay.
Technically.
How about
yourself? True, but theoretically, just high level.
Okay.
A savings account technically isn't investing in anything. You are receiving a savings rate, an interest rate from a credit union, from a bank, something like that. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the difference here because the difference is time, not the account or whatever. And it's how you use it in terms of short-term versus longer term. So the first savings account you basically would all know is a traditional savings account. They are just a step above checking. You're gonna go onto the bank, you'll set up a checking account, and I would almost guarantee you, like instantly, they're gonna set up a savings account as well. Oh, you also want our savings account. There are low risk accounts, all of these technically are. They're issued by banks, credit unions. Mm-hmm. The reason why this one I brought up is it's easy access, right? It's a thumb switch, right? I always tell, like, it's just a move over from your checking account at the same institution, bank or credit union, right? Yeah. Typically, the interest on those are very low.
It's shockingly how little interest you make, even with a good amount of money.
Yep.
It's basically like, I do my taxes and there's a form for the interest in your savings account.
Yep.
And it'd be like, oh, you made $1.80.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I had a lot of money in there.
Yep. And here's the problem. That's why I want to bring this up. This actually started from a conversation we were having in pre-production. And it's one of the most misused things. So you might think this is boring, but hear me out loud and clear. Go check your bank account, because if you have this traditional savings account, go ask them for a high yield savings account, which is my next one I'm gonna talk about. Because you might as well go get a couple more percent if you're just gonna park it there anyways.
I would be willing to bet most people don't know their savings account percentage interest rate.
Or which type they have. And I want this video, and if you're watching this as a short, you understand this, because this is a really key thing to actually look at it.
Yeah, I didn't know how easy it was to get high yield savings accounts.
Very easy, which is our next one. The second type of savings account is a high yield savings account. The difference between the two is what?
Higher interest rate.
Higher interest rate. They offer higher interest rate compared to traditional savings accounts, making them, to my opinion, the first thing you want to look at when it comes to a savings account. And it can be at your bank. So it's not like you have to go and move this to another bank. You can actually at your bank say, hey, I have a traditional savings account. What does your high yield savings account look like? I bet you dollars to donuts, it's probably higher than the current traditional.
Because they'll typically, if you go in and like, hey, I want a savings account, they're going to give you the lower interest one.
You might get a good banker that's like, hey, we have a high yield savings account. But remember, with all these things, as we go up the notch here, there's different qualifications here. There might be fees associated to it. There might be term, a lockup period, or you can't access a certain time period. So you got to ask these questions. So that's the second one, high yield savings accounts. Right now, if you have a traditional, ask your banker. You're probably making less than 1%. You can probably go make 2.5 just into a high yield savings account.
Solid.
Then you get into money market accounts. This one is the one that gets the most misconstrued because most people will intertwine a money market account with a savings account. Oh, you mean a money market account? Well, no. If you have a savings account, what is it? Is it a money market account or a savings account?
I always thought these were investment accounts.
Money markets are technically.
I always thought that you had to go through a financial advisor to get these.
No, banks can issue them. They usually have like an investment arm within a bank. Got traditional, high yield. That's all I would say at the bank or institution. Then these next three are a little bit separate. Money market accounts offer a higher interest rate than traditional savings accounts. They also can actually come with check writing availability, potentially things like that, which most traditional and high yields don't. But I want to say something like that. Money market accounts or money markets are technically a fund. They're backed by the treasury yield, and it does fluctuate. I think the current money market account right now is right around 4 to 4.5%, depending on your institution. Okay? So one thing you should know is those follow what we typically look as a 7-day roll. So as Fed funds rates or the Federal Reserve changes rates, as those things happen, you will likely see your money market account drop. So just because you bought or invested or put money into a money market account doesn't mean it's going to stay there forever. It follows the Fed funds rates and the treasuries that it has in the fund.
There's 3 banks here that are up at 5.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
that's a lot.
It's a lot. When you talk to them, you want to find them, talk to them, make sure what if they have fees associated with it, is there a lockup? These are all the questions you want to ask. The other thing too with money markets is you have to understand is liquidity. So a savings account, it's cash, it can move over right away, like done with your thumb, right? Money market account, most of them technically are a fund. They trade on what's called net asset value. So it's selling a part of, if you had $1,000 in it and you needed $100 to move over your checking account, you have to redeem it. So it might be, and this is something you ask your banker or something you ask your advisor to say, hey, if I need money, is it just there that day or is it going to be a next day thing?
Well, that's good to know. So
that's a liquidity thing.
If I have all of mine in my savings account and I'm like, I need this today, it's probably not an option.
That's why you want to tier some of these things. Maybe have like your readily cash. Like I always say your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of overhead, that should be in a high yield savings account or traditional. If you have cash not invested in the market, not in your 401k, not in your IRA, right? Then you should have it more in a money market fund. That's kind of your longer than 6 months, but less than 2 year money. Because that, if you needed money, you're okay waiting a day or two to get the money over from the money market account.
So what if
you don't need it like that fast?
A pipe bursts.
Yep.
I have wouldn't that be in an emergency fund that I need right away?
Yep.
Okay.
That would be in high yield savings account, traditional savings account.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I think anything above your 3 to 6 months, by the way, just we've talked about this a lot on our show, but if your overhead per month for your household is $10,000, the Certified Financial Planning Board and how I would advise clients is you want to have somewhere between $30,000 and $60,000 on hand in cash.
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months. Now, mind you, you're probably thinking about that and you're like, yeah, don't have that. Which is common.
Not easy for everyone to have 6 months of bills.
It's not. And look, these things that we're talking about take discipline, but it is very, very important. That should be savings account. This is more kind of, talk to your advisor about this, but this is what I would advise. Anything above 6 months, but less than 2 years, this is I'm saving for a big purchase. I got trips coming up, whatever those things. That could be in money market because you don't need it that day.
Yeah, gotcha.
Can you access it though? Like if something happened and you're like, okay, now I need to access all my money or something?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, talk with your advisor about that, kind of work through it with them. But yes, it's not like it's held up for like a week. I'm just saying it's not like you move it over from your checking account like you would a traditional savings account.
But it's not like locked up like a CD.
No, and that's the fourth one. Exactly. So certificate of deposit. They're typically a fixed term. You see them 6 months, a year, 2 years. I've seen them out 5 years, right?
Whoa.
And they're basically exchanged for a guaranteed interest rate. So this is the first camp where you start getting into, okay, you're locking money up at a guaranteed rate.
That traditional savings account are not locked in?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It can change what the bank changes it. So let's break it down for a second. In a very simple form, how does a bank work? How does a bank make money? Very simple form. What would you say?
By lending out our money to other people and charging them interest.
Ding, 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 ding. And the fancy word that they're trying to get is?
Arbitrage.
Bingo.
Arbitrage.
So there's obviously a lot to this, and I'm not going to go into the details of it because this is a very basic version of this. But yes, the money you have at a bank, they are lending out. If they're offering you 4 and they're getting 6 to 6.5 on a mortgage, again, this is very simple, so this is not exact gospel, but they're basically making 2 to 2.5% on that money. So they want your money on book so they can lend it out. That's how that works. So when you get into the CD environment, they're being cautious of that because they're basically saying, yeah, okay, I'll give you it for 5 years, but it probably won't be the current rate of 4%. It might be a little bit less. And you can actually test that with your bank. You can go out there and take a look.
These CD rates I'm seeing for today, I'm seeing like 4.6. This is a six-month term, 19-month term.
So go out to 5 years. What's a 5-year CD rate right now?
There's some that are, they're 4.2, 4.15, 4, 4.3.
So my point in all this is you go out in the time period, typically your interest rate's going to go down. Not by much, but it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Why? Because the bank is basically on the obligation. They have to give that to you. And if they're a smart bank, they realize that likely rates are going to be coming down, which means they might be priced out. Make sense?
Yeah.
They're holding an obligation from 4 years ago, let's say, and this is hypothetical. Mortgage rates are now at 5.5 versus 6.5, right? But they're paying your CD from 4 years ago at 4. Their spread's no longer 2.5. It's now 1.5, right? So this is a business. They have to understand that, right? So I'm a fan of CDs if you know you're not going to use the money in that whatever time period you choose, 6 months, a year, because remember, it's locked up. So you will pay a penalty or a fee to get it out. Again, every bank has different stipulations, so that might not be across the board. But the benefit of a CD is you know you're getting that rate for that term.
Yeah.
Like that's really important. I think that's a key factor here. Traditional savings account, high yield savings account, money markets. We talked about CDs, kind of how to use all of them. The last one I put in there was a health savings account. Now, this kind of fits, kind of doesn't in this whole thing, but it had the word in there, health savings account. So we figured let's throw it in there.
But this is, I think there's more and more of these coming out. I've just recently kind of learned about these, and there's a lot of advantages.
Yes, look, they're awesome. It's designed specifically for healthcare expenses, and it allows tax advantage savings. So these other accounts I brought up, these savings accounts don't necessarily have tax advantages to them, per se.
On an HSA, can I keep that put into it and not touch it indefinitely?
Yeah.
So I
mean it'll grow to a balance at some point. You need to use it. It can only be used for medical expenses.
Then if it can only be used for medical expenses, why are so many people saying, hey, you should put this money into it?
It's tax deferred. So if you put money into it, all things said, if you made $10,000 for your income this year and you put $1,000 into an HSA, you'd only be paying taxes on $9,000 as a general hypothetical.
Right.
So,
but at the end of the day, I can't use an HSA for an account that I can say, okay, well, now I want to buy a boat, so let me pull money out of my HSA.
No, you're not using it for that. This would be to cover co-pays, prescriptions, costs, anything that goes on.
So it's basically a very specific savings account for a very specific use. It's not a general.
Correct. Okay. Mine came in very useful the other day with our savings account here. I told you Kiki got hit in the head with a puck from my son.
Oh.
I know, poor little thing. I mean, she got gashed pretty good. She was a great spirit. She was like, Dad, I got a scar. She was actually very happy about it. I got a bill for like $2,000.
Wow.
That's rough.
For stitches for like 7 stitches. Anyways, the whole thing. But the HSA, boom, done. All right, so there's some points I want to bring up here with these 5 savings accounts. The 2 that come to mind right out of the gate that you should know about with savings accounts is accessibility and interest. We kind of touched on the interest a lot. We had a little bit on the accessibility, so I want to go more about that one. Again, most savings accounts, as you're probably used to, it's easy access, right? It's from your checking account, same bank, whatever. As you go down that list, as I mentioned, into money markets, CDs, HSAs, they're a little bit different. They offer higher interest rates, higher yields, but they have a little more hair to it, as they say. So just be aware, of what those things mean. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you're sacrificing interest for accessibility and vice versa.
And with the savings account, though, I will say this: it's not dramatic. It's not like I'm saying, oh, it's gonna be locked up for a year and you can only use it at this time period. Nothing like that. But I'm saying that it is different than just a traditional savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's talk about how or when not to use a savings account. How about that? So first and foremost, this is an easy one. Everyday expenses. Your savings account should not be your checking account. That's why they have a difference. So it's not an everyday expense account.
Yeah.
Okay. Savings accounts really shouldn't be used when you're like, this kind of dovetail on number 1, but like frivolous spending. It's just like, oh, I want this. Like going on a shopping spree or something like that. That's not really what a savings account's for.
Right.
Usually. Now, you can go up the levels a little bit, and maybe your traditional is more for that. If, hey, I just feel like doing some retail therapy today, right? But it may not be your money market account or your high yield savings account.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
Same thing with day-to-day transactions. But the biggest one I want to use for a savings account is a savings account, in my opinion, should not be used as your long-term wealth building account. Again, disregarding time horizon, disregarding risk tolerance, or some things in there that we should, I should hone in on. But the general thesis there is your long-term money should really be more geared towards a longer-term investment. The savings accounts that earn the most yield are the ones that are tied to Fed funds rates, treasury bills, things like that, which fluctuate. There's a lot of economic research and studies and facts and history behind that. As rates come down, market rates go up because they're not getting, think about it this logically. It's called risk spread. You ever heard that term before? No. So as an investor, when we're managing assets, let's say in a very simple word, I look at two assets, okay? And I look at one that's gonna pay me 4% with no volatility, and it's basically guaranteed. Let's call it a CD or just a rate. Guaranteed for a year at 4%. When I look at another investment that has a yield of, let's say, 6%, but it's not guaranteed and it's volatile. The question becomes for any investment manager and anyone who's managing assets is that 2% a risk spread you're willing to take? And right now, as bank rates come up, it makes market rates or volatile or more risky, if you want to call it, assets less attractive, because you're like, wow, I can go get 4 or 5 over there. Why would I go risk it? See what I'm saying? So yeah. There's a symbiotic relationship between the Fed funds rate, banks, money markets, which is why this is a really important topic, and your investing life. As you can see here, if you've watched this far into the show, you can understand that savings accounts, as simple or boring as they may seem, are actually a really cool vehicle if you use them in the right way.
A lot going on here.
Totally. More so than you would think.
More than I would think, yeah. I mean, I've often thought, just like, why do I even need a savings account? I'll put my money I need in my checking account, and then I'll have like my investment accounts. But this is really a nice, valuable tool if used correctly.
If used correctly. Now, I would also say on that, just operationally, I think it is still wise to have a savings account because it separates church and state. Because if you have all of your assets in a checking account, as disciplined as you might be, it's easier to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and by the way, nowadays with banking, there's always overdraft protection. There's always things that cover it. So it's not like you have to worry if a large purchase came through or something like that. So we thought it'd be a good one for you guys today because I think, savings accounts, again, might be super simple, but there are different types and there are different ways to use it. Do you guys have a savings account?
Oh, yeah. I've been a saver since day one. So
yeah. What kind of savings account do you have, mind me asking? Do you know?
I have a traditional one.
Yep.
And then we just opened high yield. So
Good.
We're moving up in the world.
Good. See, well,
I don't.
You should.
We have a regular one.
What's your high yield savings account rate right now? Do you know?
No idea.
Because the live example here is check that out versus what a money market is. Because it'd be interesting if there's a spread difference.
Yeah, I've honestly never heard of money market account
before. Money markets are it's actually a fund. That's what I'm saying. People intertwine it with savings accounts. That's why I think it's interesting to talk about that one because it's not exactly the same.
Are bonds in the same conversation as CDs, or are they separate?
Good question. So what we just talked about was think of it like a level. Level 1 was cash accounts, and in that level we have different steps to that level. Level 2, from a risk parameter of going up in return but also up in risk. Level 2, you would get into the fixed income environment.
Okay.
This is bonds and different types of bonds: corporate bonds, municipality bonds, revenue bonds, corporate, you name it, right?
Treasury bonds.
There's different government bonds. There's different risks inside of that. Short-term, mid-term, long-term. There's longer duration, maturity. This is something I say often, but bonds run the market. No one wants to admit it.
I think this is interesting because I am not somebody that has a lot of risk tolerance. So it's interesting to know the different avenues you can have, even if you're not wanting to maybe jump into the stock market.
Yeah. And then there's also products out there CD technically is a product from a bank or institution, but then you get into the world of annuities, and that's always a triggering word for everybody. As an advisor, we don't do a ton of them. We usually fix the ones that are bad for clients that have come in, but there's different types, and there's some that are good and there's some that are really not good. But there's also environments I always help clients navigate into I really don't like the market. I'm super risk adverse, right? But there is also a need within the wealth forecast, the financial plan we're putting together, that they need growth above and beyond inflation. And you just can't do that with a savings account. And when we show it, their spend rate in retirement, it's going to draw down that money.
A lot of limitations in the money you can make.
Yeah, if you're going to, so you got to be careful with that. As nerdy as it might sound, it's actually kind of cool in understanding how it works for you.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you can make more money, why shouldn't you?
Correct.
Words to live by.
But remember, like everything else in life, opportunity cost is all around us. So you might be giving up some sleep if that's your DNA, right? But it does play into your overall goals and working that through. Cool.
I learned a lot.
Well, good.
I did too.
As per usual. But for me, like, I mean, I definitely learned. I mean, I'm going to actually make some changes because of this.
That's why we wanted to write when we were talking about this pre-production, you came with Sean, like, that's actually a great one, because I would say this is a weekly conversation I have with clients, and this is not a bad thing. It's just a misunderstanding of these types of accounts.
Yeah.
Frankly, just understanding that there's more than just one. Like the general labeling of savings versus breaking it down. So I think about it level 1, different levels inside there, moving up to level 2 and beyond.
Right.
Great.
We hope you enjoyed that just as much as we did. As always, we're very grateful and thankful for all of our subscribers. Please leave us comments. Let us know. I've been asking the past couple weeks because we love hearing what you want to talk about. So let us know if there's a topic out there that we haven't touched on, and we probably have it on our list too, but it's good for us to know. So share the video if you like it. I guess don't share it if you don't like it. I don't know. Maybe do.
Oh,
Still share it.
Still
Yeah,
share
still
it.
share.
You know? Hey guys, look, we love coming to you every week. We love doing this show. So thank you again for watching. And as always, if you lead with love, everything's going to be all right. See you guys next week.